If I can't be close to you, I'll settle for the ghost of you. I'll miss you more than life. I'll miss you more than life. Oh, hey, how are you guys? I hope you enjoyed the little intro. I've been obsessed with the song Ghosts from the Beebs. um, I don't know why that Justice album is getting back on my playlist, but it has been. Anyways, hello bookish friends. I am here to do a new video for you guys. I am so excited for today's video. Today's video is my first time debuting a new t-shirt for you guys. A couple of videos ago, I talked about having more bookish shirts to film. Look what I got. This one says, all booked for Christmas. And it's just a large yellow t-shirt, you know, with book stack as a Christmas tree. I'm really loving this. It's a tad big for me, for my liking, but nonetheless, I'm loving it so much. I got this for the Swoony Readers sleepover that they're doing this weekend. It ends tomorrow. Boo! But I've been having so much fun. I took lots of photos. I filmed a clip of me reading while sprinting. There's been some sprinting, there's been some sips and chats, there's been movie watch-alongs. It's just been so fun, and that's been hosted by my friend Kaylani and Karina and Dana. Lovely ladies will be listed down below. I saw the merch and I was like, I must have it. I need more bookish shirts in my life, you know? Anyways, for today's video, I am here to do my end of the year book tag. And for that video, there are a list of questions I have. So I have them on my phone. I'm going to use my phone today. I have 20 questions here. So these questions I gathered from Bookables, from Heather over at Bookables. These were the questions that she used, and I believe Bethany from Becca and the Books made this tag up a while ago. I'm not sure. I could be wrong with all that. I do know these questions I got from Heather over at Bookable. So hi Heather, if you're watching, I love your channel. Your channel is such an inspiration to me because it's one I've been watching for a long time, but also I love when you do book tags because then it makes me want to do a book tag. So I have 20 questions here. It's going to be a chit-chatty video. And I need my iced tea. Where did I put it? Did I not bring it upstairs? How rude. I did not bring my iced tea upstairs. Rude. Anyways, grab a snack, grab a drink, curl up with a blanket, and let's talk about the end of the year. Can you believe it's December 13th as I'm filming this video? You guys might see this during Christmas week, so if you do, Merry Christmas. I hope you all have a great holiday season. So let's jump into the questions, shall we? Some of these were actually hard for me to come up with answers, but once I did, I was like, oh yes, these are easy. Question 1 is most disappointing read of the year. I'm so scared to tell you guys that my most disappointing read of the year, it won the Goodreads Choice Awards for Best Romance. And this one was just a tad short for me for loving it. And that is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. We're starting off with a polarizing novel. This is a adult romance that I was so highly anticipating throughout this season. And I picked it up the minute I got in my hands. And I was enjoying it halfway through. And then we met a different timeline in this book. And then I was so confused once we had 2 timelines. I was like, who's who? Who's doing what? Where are we doing this? I know this is kind of similar to another one of her novels as well, where there's 2 writers and they are trying to help each other write their own books, I think. This ending was so sweet though. So like parts of me loved it, parts of me didn't. I buddy read this with my bestie, Kristen. Hi, Kristen, if you're watching. And I'm sad to say I gave this a 3.5 stars. And it's just one I'm very disappointed by, which sucks because I love Emily's writing so much. But yeah, this was definitely one of my biggest disappointments of the year. The next question I have is underdog book of the year. So an underrated book that I have. I have two answers for this because I couldn't think of just one. The first one I have is Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed. When I first thought about this question, I was like, ooh, maybe this one could do it. But then I also feel like this one is very popular depending on what side of the platform you're on. Definitely on the fantasy side if you're into that. This has a bit of fantasy and sci-fi and dystopian mix into it. Mostly dystopian than sci-fi. But this is a Hunger Game inspired story, but it's also a sapphic love story in between as well. It follows a main character who's half robot. And so she gets assassinated for the spectacle that she has to be a part of. When I read this book, I thought this was going to be like a first book of a new series for me, but it wasn't. It was a standalone book. So when I read the last page, I was like, whoa, what? What do you mean this doesn't have a sequel coming? I really want a sequel to happen, but I don't know if that will. I got this beautiful edition from Owl Crate as well with the stunning stenciled edges. So yeah, this one I definitely think was the underdog of the year. Maybe some of you guys have read this, and if you have, let me know. This was definitely a 5-star read for me, and I can't wait to see what Ava Reed has in store. I know she has a new book coming out next year, and that's going to be a dark fantasy romance type of novel, and I'm nervous for that because I'm not a huge romance reader right now, so hopefully I'll love it even though it's still categorized as fantasy. Anyways, my second option for the most underdog book of the year will go to The Floating World by Axio. This is a fantasy novel that is a first of a duology. I haven't read book 2 yet, but it's on my December TBR. So I'm hoping to love book 2 as much as I love book 1. We follow our main character named Shu, who she is part of this underworld they have. It's like 7-layer underworld. And if you fall off from the very top of the universe, you're like dead. It's almost like, how did Axie explain it? She said it was like Final Fantasy meets Gimiro, I think is how she said it. I'm so sorry. But this was such a fun, fast-paced novel. I really enjoyed this one. I love how short these chapters were too. So if you love a good short chapter novel, this one is definitely a go-to. And it's only a duology, so it's one and done, you know? So I'm looking forward to seeing how the sequel goes. If I don't get to it in 2025, I'll definitely get to it in 2026. Maybe I'll even read it in January, and we shall see how that one would go. But nonetheless, I'm so excited. I also got to meet Axie twice this year. So she was able to sign this one, and she was able to sign book 2, which is The Demon in Light. So I'm excited to dive back into this world, and I really think you guys should check this out, especially if you love Final Fantasy. Definitely check this one out. Next question I have is a book that was overhyped. So a book I think was overhyped, and again, it could just be me not loving romances this year. I don't know about anyone else, but this year with romances, some of them has been like 3 or 2 stars, and I'm so sad. This one is no exception. This one was a 2-star read for me, and that was Summer in the City by Alex Astor. I think this one was a 2-star read for me because I listened to this one via audiobook, and I was just like, ooh, this narrator is super high pitch and the voice was a tad annoying for me, but I couldn't tell if that was the narrator voice or if that was the female main character that we had in this book. This takes place in New York City, and this is also Alex Astor's debut romance novel as well, so I was a tad nervous going into it and kind of ended up not loving it, sadly. I might keep this copy, I might not, I might unhaul it. I haven't decided if I wanted to unhaul it or not, but this was a 3.5 star that I gave earlier this year, and I think it was overhyped. I mean, good for Alex because it got her to where she needed to be. But I don't know. I don't think this was my cup of tea. Who knows? Maybe I'm just being tad grumpy tonight as well. Next question I have. I don't have these memorized. I'm so sorry. Next question I have our favorite book couples or couple of the year. So I have 3 options for this. Favorite male couple I have are from Love and Monsters, both Noah and Jake. Oh my goodness, these two has been so amazing to read about. I have book 2 on my December TBR. It's actually the next book I'm reading after I've finished my current read. I've been reading a lot of fantasy books lately and I just want a little break from it. So I'm going to pick up Midnights Like This. I have it right here. Oh, wrong one. I have Midnights Like This by Max Walker on my docket right here, literally on the top shelf of my TBR. So I'm looking forward to seeing what book 2 has in store, but this one definitely takes the cake for my favorite couple. I love Jake and Noah, and if anything happens to them in book 2, I might riot. But also Clint over at Reader, thank you so much for recommending this book to me. I read it earlier this year and absolutely loved it. Put that one back on my carts. Put this one here. Another one of my favorite couples is another male. I can't remember their names though. Oh my god, Ty and Jax in Carving Shadows into Gold. I got that title right. Carving Shadows into Gold. Hold on, I got a terrible cough. Hold on. My goodness, that has been with me like all month. I hate it. Ugh. Anyways, this is a fantasy series that's one of my favorite authors have written, and I've been with Jax and Tycho since book 1 of this universe, and they are going so strong in book 2. I'm scared to read the finale, which is Sparking Fire into Fate, I think is what it's called. It comes out in January next month, so I'm very excited for it, but I'm also a tad nervous, you know. I don't want anything bad to happen with our main characters, but also our side characters. But the villain gotta go. And if you know, you know. I can't believe I met Bridget this year, finally. That was such a dream come true, and I gushed about her books with her, so it was so cool to fanboy over her books with her. It was just like a cool experience. I was like, somebody better pinch me right now. And my last favorite couple that I have, it's not a queer couple, sadly, but we have Aiden and Lucy from First Time Caller. I am so bad with character names. I'm so sorry, you guys, but just know, if I know you personally, I'll get your names right. But if you're fictional, maybe not. First Time Caller by B.K. Morrison was my first book by this author that I've read this year, and meeting these in a podcast format, like interview style that we had throughout this novel, was really fun. We follow our main character Lucy, who calls one night and just asks for dating advice, but then the guy that she called, she ends up falling for him, or they don't, or do they? I don't know. I'm so excited to read the sequel. And now back to you. I just started the e-arc of that this month, so hopefully you'll see that in my December wrap up. But looking forward to seeing how book 2 goes. And I'm so sad that we don't really follow these characters so far. We don't in book 2. But nonetheless, Aiden and Lucy, they are so cute, so sweet. And this was one of the few romances where I actually enjoyed it, and I gave it 5 stars. Next question is a book that surprised you this year. This one not only surprised me this year, but it made me cry, and that is Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Oh my goodness. This one was a little bit of a historical fiction novels meets contemporary real life situation. We follow our main character, who's the first female astronaut to go to space, and that was really groundbreaking and heartbreaking at the same time. I cried, I laughed, I smiled. I had all the feelings with this one. This one only surprised me because this is set in the 1980s, I think. 1980s era. And of course I wasn't born then, but I didn't know too much about it. And I was like, oh, hopefully it's not going to be like too historically, you know? But nonetheless, I cried, I laughed. I had all the feelings with this one. This one definitely surprised me. And this one may or may not be in my top 5 of the year. Just saying. Look forward to that video coming soon. Next question we have is read question number 7, new favorite author you discovered in 2025. I could say B.K. Borson again because she was a new to me author. Max Walker is a new to me author, but the one that I actually picked for this answer is Penn Cole, the author of the Kinder's Curse saga. I can never say the series names right. I'm so sorry. I'm picking this one because not only have I only read book 1 by her, but I'm currently halfway through, not even halfway through, like 10 chapters away from finishing book 2. And oh my goodness, this series has my heart as a whole. I'm so scared to see what happens at these last 10 chapters of this book. I just literally got to chapter 35 and there's 45 chapters and I'm just like, I'm so scared to see what's going to happen to my characters. They're so sweet, so badass. Denim is just a tough girl, especially for what she's been going through with book 2. And if you know, you know. At first, when I met Denim in here, I thought she was a tad annoying, but now that we have character growth in book 2, I was like, whoa, okay, that's really cool. We met a shy mortal who fallen in this fantasy realm who quickly becomes the queen of the kingdom. It's so good. I love the series so much and I just started it this year. I'm trying to find the paperback edition of book 3 that matches these 2 spines. I haven't found it yet, but maybe if I do like an Amazon search, I'm sure I'll find something for paperback of book 3. And I do know book 4 comes out in July of next year, so it will be a long wait to read by then. But just know I'm devouring book 2. I loved Penn Cole's writing. It's just so quick, so easy. If you love the Immortal Instruments series when you were growing up and you wanted something similar to it, these 2 books so far are definitely those type of feelings. So love that for me, and I definitely am enjoying this nonetheless, even though this one I have a feeling is going to make me cry. So that was for a new favorite author. For happiest read of the year, I want to say this one is Happy So Much, because both of these have like heavy topics in them. But one that I was happy to come back to, I was happy to be back in the Hunger Games world that Suzanne Collins has created. I didn't realize how much I miss Haymitch's voice until I read his story. And I was like, oh my goodness, this made me so happy reading this. This is another 5-star read that I have for 2025. I'm super stoked for the movie. I just saw that trailer drop the other day and I was like, oh my goodness, everything looks so good. It looks like how I picture it in my mind. So I'm stoked to see how the movie does. I'm sure it will do well because it has the same company and director and writers and all that from the original Hunger Games. So looking forward to seeing the movie next year. But yeah, this one definitely weirdly made me happy while reading it. Another book that made me happy, even though this had a sad setting, I physically read this as well. I physically read this while FaceTiming my friend Sydney, and that is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. This was I want to say my 3rd novel by Ashley that I've read of her romances, and I really have been loving them lately. Like, this is another rare occurrence of me loving a romance, and I think it was just at the time I was FaceTiming my bestie, you know, and we were both physically reading something that we both loved. So this was the book that I loved. I can't remember what she was reading at the time, but I read this during the summertime, and that was just like the perfect season to read this in. And honestly, it was just like a magical time of reading it, even though it was such a sad book itself. Next question is your biggest book of the year. Surprisingly, my biggest book of the year was Oathbound by Tracy Dion. This comes in at 640 pages. Next question is your smallest book of the year. My smallest book is Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear by Shauna McGuire. This one comes in at 160 pages. Definitely a lot smaller than Oathbound. For a cover you love, I couldn't have done so many book covers that I loved this year, but one that stands out is one I haven't read yet, but that is A Curious Kind of Magic by Mara Rutherford. I mean, look at this. Stunning. Like, how can you not love it? And then, of course, beautiful artwork on the inside. Naked hardcover itself. And then it has stunning reversible artwork on the back. Yes, please. Honestly, it's why I love Owl Crate Book Company so much, because they do such an amazing job. I can't even get the book in. That's how pretty it is. But yeah, I haven't read this one yet. I meant to read it this fall, but I just haven't got around to doing so. So hopefully I'll be reading this sometimes in 2026. If not, I'll be okay. And then after favorite cover, we have... I don't want my Instagram to open. After favorite cover, we have question 14. A book you haven't stopped thinking about. For me, I haven't stopped thinking about Blood at the Roots by Ladarian Williams. This is a first of a YA fantasy. If you love Legendborn, definitely check out this one. If you love Legendborn and Percy Jackson, this is definitely your next go-to series. I also had all the feels with this one. I laughed, I cried, I screamed. I literally texted my friend Clint all my reaction. I was like, boy, if this character doesn't get it together, I'm gonna lose it. I have book 2 on my forever ambitious reading list, and I don't know if I'll get to book 2 this month, and if I don't, that'll be okay, because I do have it on my winter TBR, which you guys will be seeing that video soon. But nonetheless, this one was so good. A new 5-star read for me. And I couldn't believe it took me almost 2 years to read this one. And this was the author's debut novel. Like, what the heck? I can see why it's getting all the buzz. And I'm excited to dive into book 2. I know he's working hard on book 3, which is the finale of the trilogy. So I'm a tad nervous that we're wrapping up the series too soon. But I'm also, like, excited to see how he'll wrap up the series, you know? I don't know. It's hard to explain without spoiling the books. But just know, if you love Percy Jackson and Legendborn, you would definitely love this series. Next one I have is cringiest book you read this year. For me, the cringiest book I read was Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens. This was a book compared to Addie LaRue, and when I was reading this one this year, I couldn't stop thinking about Addie LaRue, and I loved Addie LaRue more than this one, so I just felt like this was a bit of a copycat, but just make it young adult instead of fantasy. Sorry. I said what I said. Next one is Unpopular Book You Love. Y'all, this one is very unpopular. This was an arc I got from Penguin Teen, and that is Say a Little Prayer by Jenna Voyes. This is a YA contemporary sapphic love story that is set at a summer camp during a church setting, though. Need I say more? I don't think so. Check it out. Next is a book you think had the most unique concept. For me, I thought Immortal Longings by Ivy Marie had the most unique concept that I read this year. This had not only a Hunger Games aspect inspired story, but it also dealt with like Grim Reapers and all that, so I thought that was pretty cool. Looking forward to reading book 2 of this one next year. Stunning stenciled edges from Book of the Month. And last question we have is a book you want to reread you would want to reread. Is that this year or next year? Honestly, if it's next year, I would love to reread the first two books in the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. This is Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare with my beautiful green sprayed edges that I made myself. Yes, please. Anyways, I would love to reread books 1 and 2 next year. That way I can dive into book 3 now that it's been a year since book 3 has been out. So I would definitely love to reread Chain of Gold and Chain of Iron to jump into Chain of Thorns. Holy moly, those titles are hard to say out loud. But there you have it. Those are all the books that I thought for each of those questions. Let me know what you guys have to answer down in the comments below. And I hope you all have a great day or night or not. The choice is yours, and happy reading. And I'll talk to you guys down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like button, turn your notification on so you don't miss any new videos coming from me soon. And I'll see you all later. Bye-oh!